Let's continue to give him praise. Come on, saints, let's continue to worship. worship Him. Thank you, God, for your blessing being upon this worship experience as we lift our hands to Thee.
Hallelujah. If you really love Him on tonight, put your hands on His head. Put your hands on His head. Oh, it's a simple song. Let's see if I can learn it. unfailing love, stronger than mountains, deeper than ocean, reaches me. So one last time all together we'll say, you are like strength, strength like no other, strength like no other, reaches me. Now please welcome my big pastor, Pastor Andrew Ron, sing this time.
You know, there's something about worship, right? Throughout the course of a demanding day, throughout the tediousness, the tapestry of the roads we travel, and sometimes it appears that things seem to be just caving in. But something happens when we worship. Like there's something that shifts. Whether it's our perspective, whether it's our focus, or whatever the case may be, when we begin to worship, something happens. And so our praise team tonight led us into worship. Can we just take these next 20 to 30 seconds to just extend that worship? Come on, there's somebody out there other than me who needs this. Just about 30 seconds more, God, where I can just worship. Why don't you at this moment just release yourself from any distraction and just give him glory. Come on and worship him right where you are. Come on, saints. Come on, saints. Come on, saints. We exalt thee. We exalt. We exalt thee. Come on, anybody out there exalting with me tonight? We exalt thee. Here's who we're talking about.
For worthy is the
Did you
Lamb.
hear that? Worthy is.
Worthy is the Lamb.
Yeah.
You are holy.
He's a holy God.
Holy.
Are you Lord God?
Are you Lord God?
He's almighty.
Almighty.
He's almighty. And worthy
Worthy
is.
is the Lamb.
Do you know he's worthy?
Worthy is the Lamb.
Do we have a witness that he's worthy?
Oh, worthy is the Lamb.
Do we have a witness that he's holy?
Say, holy is the Lamb.
Come on, one witness that he's holy. He's holy.
Holy is the Lamb.
Righteous is.
Righteous is the Lamb. Holy is the Lamb. Holy is the Lamb. I love you, Jesus.
We came to worship tonight.
I worship and adore
Come on,
you.
tell somebody.
Just want
Come on, tell somebody.
to tell you,
I love,
Lord,
I
I
love.
love you
Oh.
more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just wanna tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything.
Hallelujah. We're going to close with this, but Jesus went.
Oh,
Calvary.
Jesus went
Yes.
to Calvary
Here's what he did.
to save a wretch like you and me.
That's
Love. That's love. Oh, they hung him up, they stretched him wide. He hung his head for me. That's love. That's love. Oh, but that's not how the story ends. 'Cause in 3 days he rose again. That's love. That's love. That's love. That's love. Yeah. That's love. That's love. Real love. Real love.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
Real love.
Thank you, Jesus. Merciful Savior. Thank you, God. And saints, there's something that transpires in worship when you forget about yourself, concentrate on Him. Clears up the fogginess that exists in your mind. Opens up a portal a season. We're not here for games. We come to bless his name. There's power in that name. There is healing in that name. There's strength in that name. There's liberty in that name. But you know what? There's salvation in that name. And we're grateful tonight that we will have this moment to worship and to give him glory. And the saints of God said, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. And amen. Amen, amen, amen. Hallelujah, y'all. Glory to God. Amen, amen, amen. And so I want to thank God for music ministry tonight. It's important, man, to me at least. I mean, it's important, y'all, that we just commence with worship. Because we're in a season where we may not be worshiping in the building corporately, but we can still worship virtually together. And I think that is vitally important, man, because sometimes persons, you know, just need that worship. I know I do, man, that it waters my spirit, man, that it really helps me throughout this journey called life. And so we're so grateful to God for that. So again, we want to welcome you, man, to midweek worship here at Celebration Church. We want to welcome you to those from Celebration. You know, we love you so much, and we thank God for you. Thank you for tuning in. And whether you're on Facebook Live or whether you're on our YouTube channel, we're grateful tonight that you are tuning in to be with us. To those from near and far, and to our friends, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We believe that there's a word tonight, and we believe that revival has already commenced. And so just a few things I would like to share with you before we dive right into the word, as we will not hold you long tonight. Number one is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the YMCA here in the city of Franklin, Virginia, there will be a food distribution from 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. So please, sir, please, ma'am, avail yourself to be able to go and to receive food there. And then, of course, on Saturday morning, we will be at 683 Oak Street. That is the Martin Luther King Rec Center there on Oak Street. We'll be there, and we're going to have a food distribution there as well. It also will commence at 9 a.m. and go till 11 a.m. And so we're looking forward to that. And so, you know, I would be remiss of my duty tonight if I didn't thank God for the team that God placed out there with us on last Saturday. It was raining, the wind was blowing, and it was a very challenging time, but the team did not panic. As a matter of fact, the team thrived. And so I want to thank each and every one of those team members who were out there with us on last Saturday. Man, it was a remarkable moment of ministry, and we were able to do what we were called there to do. And so we'll be back this coming Saturday. And I want to really admonish those who are watching tonight and those who will watch to please remember our seniors. If you know seniors who need boxes of food, come on, let's help each other out, right? Let's help each other out. And, and so, receive a box of food. We'll do everything we can to help as many as we can. But we want to do it responsibly, right? And so please, let's help each other out during this season. So that will be, again, food distributions 2 times. Of course, Cover 3 is doing it every day. So please avail yourself to go by to be there with our friend, Brother Greg Scott. And if you drive up there, walk out, and social distancing and all these moments are still, in place. And so you go to Cover 3, if you go to the Y from 9 to 11, or if you come with us on Saturday on Oak Street at the Rec Center, the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, we'll be there as well. Looking forward to serving each and every one. God is such an amazing God. I want to also admonish you to be safe. Wash your hands and practice good hygiene. Be safe. And then I want to invite you as well to Sunday worship. We will be right here Sunday morning for worship, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook. We're going to be here at 10 a.m. is when we go live. And so we'll have virtual worship on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. My promise and my prayer is that you would be with us. And my promise is that we're going to worship y'all, that we're going to seek the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. So please, sir, please, ma'am, avail yourself to come and be with us on Sunday morning. And if you have your Bibles, turn with me tonight, if you would, please, sir and ma'am, to 2 Samuel chapter number 9. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. Our journey commences at verse number 3, and we're going to travel to verse number 11. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. Journey commences at verse number 3, and we're going to travel to verse number 11. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. Journey commences at verse 3, and we're going to travel to verse number 11. And here's the word of the Lord. I want you to hear this. This is really significant. And pray with me tonight as we preach tonight. Tonight's going to be a night of revival. Somebody shout that back at me. Somebody shout revival. And so in midweek worship tonight, we're going to have revival style midweek worship. And then we're going to do a 2-part series. And then it closes on Sunday morning. And somebody shout, won't he do it? And so we're looking forward to that on Sunday morning. But here's tonight's lesson. The king then asked him, is anyone still alive from Saul's family? I want you to hear that again. Please hear these words tonight from the text. The king then asked him, is anyone still alive from Saul's family? If so, I want to show God's kindness to them. Ziba replied, yes, one of Jonathan's sons is still alive. He is crippled in both feet. Watch this, saints. Where is he? The king asked. In Lodabar. Ziba told him, at the home of Machir, son of Amiel. So David, who is the king that's referenced to in this text, so David sent for him and bought him from Machir's home. His name was Mephibosheth. He was Jonathan's son and Saul's, the former king's, grandson. When he came to David, he bowed low to the ground in deep respect. David said, greetings, Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth replied, I am your servant. Don't be afraid, David said. I intend to show kindness to you because of my promise to your father, Jonathan. I will give you all the property that once belonged to your grandfather, Saul, and you will eat here with me at the king's table. Mephibosheth bowed respectfully and exclaimed, who is your servant that you should show such kindness to a dead dog like me? Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and servants are to farm the land for him, to produce food for your master's household. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, will eat here at my table. Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Ziba replied, yes, my lord, the king, I am your servant, and I will do all that you have commanded. And from that time on, Mephibosheth ate regularly at David's table, like one of the king's own sons. I want to take the next few moments as the Spirit shall guide. And I want to preach tonight, if you'd indulge me in our revival series as we head to Sunday morning. I want to admonish you to hear me tonight, I believe that this is a word for you. Here is the word. He didn't forget me. I wish I had somebody to help me right down through in there. The fact with that we have all these things transpiring right now in our society, and we serve a God who didn't forget me. Can somebody just scream that back at me real quick as we get ready for this sermonic presentation? Somebody shout, he didn't forget me. He didn't forget me. Now, I know there have been some days where it may appear that he did, but the truth of the matter is God did not forget about me. He didn't forget me. And it's interesting right down through in here, Brother Green, because have you ever wondered why there are some people who just seem to dislike you for no credible reason? Is there somebody out there going to give me some likes and hearts right down through in there? That there are some people who just seem to dislike you for no known credible reason. And you know people who you feel you work sometimes overtime to befriend, and yet they still seem jealous, they still seem envious, and they still seem mean after you have bent over backwards to show them you mean them no harm. David, in our text, King David, you know, Jesse's boy, the one Samuel anoints. David was anointed by Samuel as king because the present king, Saul, at the time, had fell off his rocker, it appeared. He seemed to have no allegiance to God. He was cited as a madman, and David comes out of nowhere as a boy and strikes down a behemoth, a giant named Goliath, after this giant had been making a mockery of God's people. He will come on the battlefield and make a mockery of the people of God, and nobody would be able to go out and get what they needed to go up against the giant because he was accomplished. He had a spear, and he had everything that a warrior would need, and it appeared that there was no way they could go up against this behemoth of a giant called Goliath. Yet David goes up against him and strikes him down. But David respected and revered Saul, even though Saul hated David. If I would put my kickstand right down right there, I am certain to advise that somebody's testimony was just shared up in this broadcast right here, that you've done everything you can to try to keep the respect of others and be respectful to persons, but for some unknown reason, they simply dislike you. It's an interesting turn of events, though, because as Saul attempts to kill David, David does all he can to ensure Saul is not discarded, that he's not dumped, or that he is disenchanted by those who are supposed to be honoring him. And I know that many of us assume our situation is severe and or sacrilegious, but can you imagine how much David had to endure? Running from city to city, hiding in caves, having to correct people who were even talking of killing the one who had a bounty on his head. Yet God called him to it. And I want to stop right there, Brother Green, because isn't it something when we look at how the Bible begins to unfold in the pages of his literature right here in the book of 2 Samuel, that David is going through an intense time, a time where most people would be scared, yet God has called him to it. It's interesting because this is not a pretty situation. This is not a comfortable situation or a comfortable station, but God is walking with David through the valley of the shadow of death. And I don't know who I'm preaching to right down in here, but God told me to tell you he's walking with you. Can I stop right there momentarily and just let somebody know who's watching me out there, or perhaps somebody who's in the building, the staff here with me tonight? I want you to understand that God is walking with you. Can somebody just shout that back at me real quick? Can you type that in the comment section right there? That I know God has to be walking with me. You may have a Saul, someone who dislikes you and tries to knock you off in your life. They're trying to kill you, but remember the Bible says something very powerful, and it states it extremely clear that you've got to love your enemies. In other words, what God has called you to is bigger than what your enemies could ever be. I feel like shouting. And though they may think they can ramshod your life, they must have no clue who they are messing with. The same way that God preserved David is the same way way, God is preserving you. Is there anybody out there that can shout that at me and say, Pastor, I know God is preserving me. I know that God is walking with me. I know that God is considerably leading me, because he will never leave me, nor will he forsake me. However, surveying the plan of God in the life of David allows you and I to witness this man named Jonathan. Out of nowhere, it appears that this guy Jonathan comes back from when David had a conversation and relationship with him in previous moments when his daddy, Jonathan's daddy, Saul, disliked David. Yet Jonathan saw something in David and helped David even though his daddy did not like him. And that in and of itself, all by itself, is a sermon. I really could preach right down through in there that even though that there are some moments when parents don't get along, that the children are able to see the hand of God at work and are able to escort the will of God into the lives of the next generation, even though the parents are hating on each other. Can I get one witness out there? That's not the sermon tonight. I got to get back up on the bike and start back pedaling. But when we begin to look at this thing, it becomes crystal clear, does it not, that God sends Jonathan into the life of David for a particular purpose. And God will send somebody in your life that's able to preserve you even though you had no idea that they were trying to preserve you. God is able to send some people to help you even though there were others trying to hinder you. Somebody shout, now that's the truth. And the same way that God preserves David, I want to share and echo again that God is going to preserve you. Jonathan is the son of Saul, and he knows his daddy has gone crazy. And so he helps who his daddy sees as an enemy, though he knows that this man is not an enemy, by the name of David, the one whom God has anointed as the next king. Look at this thing right here. Jonathan helps David, and David is his daddy's replacement. Look at God ruling in a situation, through a person most thought would have hated David. But I come to tell somebody, when you do it God's way, you're going to get God's result. And people may see you as useless, but God will see you as useful. You're valuable to God. God kept you alive. God kept you moving. God kept you in your right mind. God kept you right in the midst of the storm. God kept malignant forces at bay. God kept you alive. And in our text, there is one who shares a similar testimony. His name is Mephibosheth. I know. This name is kind of quirky, and while I don't suggest you institute this name in your family, he is remembered by David because of who he was connected to. And if I had some time right down through in there, it matters, beloved of God, who you are connected to. And is there anybody out there listening to me tonight that says, Pastor, I know that the ultimate connection and the most important connection is to be connected to the lily of the valley, to be connected to the bright and morning star, to be connected to the wheel in the middle of a wheel, to be connected to a God who sits high and looks low, a God who's able to take care of me. Somebody shout, get connected. And so it's interesting because as we continue to meander through this sermonic presentation, there's something that leaps out from this text that we want to remind everybody that God will not forget you. I know that they're saying coronavirus is taking the world by storm, but you've got to know, beloved of God, that God has not forgotten about you and that coronavirus has not defeated God. As a matter of fact, God has already defeated it. Can I get one witness out there that says the God we serve is a victory bearer? The God we serve has already won the battle. This battle is not ours. This battle is the Lord's. And guess what? He didn't forget about little old me. Somebody shout, that's good news right there. That's good news. It's interesting, Spider, because lest I hold you too long, the first thing that I believe streams from this text, Brother Green, that we need to live tonight is position. Somebody shout position. There's a position here that I need you to see as we traverse through this sermonic presentation. Mephibosheth is living in misery and appears to be forgotten about. I'm trying to slow my roll. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself tonight, Joy. But it's interesting right down through in here because Mephibosheth is living in misery, and it appears that this man has been forgotten about. And I got to stop. This isn't in my notes. This isn't on our manuscript right here. But I got to stop right there because there's somebody watching me right now that you feel as if you have been forgotten about. But God sent the big head, light-skinned preacher right to your Facebook tonight, right to your YouTube channel tonight to let you know that you have not been forgotten about, that God is getting you in position. Is there anybody out there that's going to go with me tonight that says, you know what? I thought that this was going to be something that was going to take me out, but God is just getting ready to get me in position. He's getting ready to do something in me that's going to blow the mind of everybody who tried to take me out, because you don't know like I. It's interesting. Because there's position here. Somebody screamed that at me. Position, position, position. Here is Mephibosheth. He is in Lodabar. And Lodabar means no pasture. Lord, if I had time tonight, I don't have time tonight. I got 20 minutes left with y'all tonight. But it's interesting right here. It's interesting, Maya, because the text says that he's in Lodabar, and Lodabar means no pasture. In other words, it doesn't appear that there's life there. It doesn't appear that there's a future there. It doesn't appear that things are going to turn around in Lodabar. And when we begin to look at this, in other words, he is in a place that appears desolate and destitute, and a place where the crops fail because fertility is extinct and agricultural endeavors are ineffective as the soil is unable to cultivate seed. No pasture, meaning livestock survival is minimal as disease cancel perceived destiny in the animal kingdom, producing dysfunctional moments when attempting to feed your family. And can you imagine being a king's grandson living in a predicament that is equivalent to being homeless in current times? However, Jonathan makes an agreement with David. You can't forget that, beloved of God. Jonathan makes an agreement with David that solidified his lineage. God will perfect that which concerns you. And here now, Mephibosheth had no clue why he was where he was as the king's grandson. But I shout right down through in here, because even though Mephibosheth wasn't perfect, God did forget him. Boy, I told you, if I had time tonight, I would shout right down through in here. Prince said to dance and shout and celebrate like it's 1999. But I got some good news for you right down through in here. I thank God that he did not forget about me. And aren't you glad that even though there were some times you were not even present, but you now see God had you on his mind? It doesn't mean that all your days will be sunny. You may have to spend a few nights in Lodabar, but hold on. Somebody shout, hang in there. Somebody tell your neighbor, keep right on pressing, because the God we serve will make a way. And he will make a way. He will position you even when you are unaware of what's transpiring. David and Jonathan made this covenant, this agreement, and Jonathan was inspired by God to secure the future of his house, yet he was unaware. God put him in position. Not only, lest I hold y'all too long, not only will God put you in position, but God will put you in position because he knows how to protect you. I wish I had somebody that would help me right down through in there. And so as we look at the first turn of the text, we see, Brother Green, that God had Mephibosheth in Lodabar, and while it does not appear to be a favorable position, it is a position that doesn't extend beyond the reach of God. And so God is able to protect him even though he thought he wasn't in a good position. I'm not making it up. I'll explain. This is not hypothetical. No, is it hyperbole? The text says David sends for Mephibosheth and brings him to the palace. I really could shout right here, Nikki, because one day you're in Lodabar, and the next day you've been summoned to the palace. It's interesting, but we're going to walk through the text. Mephibosheth was in a place that had no pasture, meaning meals were scarce. Meaning the health of families was fickle. Meaning the economy was faulty. And yet God has a way to protect him from situations that could have killed him. Boy, I'm telling you that Mephibosheth was lame in his feet because he was dropped as a child, and he finds himself in the best place of his life now because he had a father that was faithful to the man of God, and as a result of that faithfulness, his child now has protection that he did not have before. He now is hanging with the dude who wrote, "He maketh a way for me, even and to walk beside green pastures." And I know that job that you have, beloved, seems unappreciative. I know life has sent its share of curveballs. I know that folks have been funny, fickle, and foolish, and it seems like you always receive the short end of the stick. But you ought to shout, somebody, right down through it here, because in the midst of a horrible hand, God still protected you. In the vice of venomous snakes, God still protected you. In the midst of a deadly virus or a deadly disease, the Lord is turning it back. And I thought somebody would have shouted with me right down through it here, knowing that God is still protecting you, knowing that God is still positioning you, knowing that God has never left you, and knowing that you are still on his mind. It's good news, beloved of God, to know that even though we're living in perilous times, that we're still on the mind of God. And God would put you in position because he's able to place you in a space where others have counted you out, but he's issuing protection, and then he comes back and lets us all know that it's position protection, and it's all leading to preparation. Can I get some help up in here from somebody? That when Mephibosheth shows up to converse with David about what has transpired, he bows down to pay him honor. But look at what David said. Don't be afraid. David said to him, "For I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan." Somebody shout, preparation, preparation. "I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." I wish I had somebody that was going to help me right down through it here. Church, you ought to be glad tonight that God is preparing you, because there may have been some of your promises on your bloodline that others, for one reason or another, could not enjoy, but God still has to honor his promise. Mephibosheth is lame in both his feet, and though he is lame in both his feet, there's still a promise. Somebody shout, a promise. And God has you in position. He knows how to protect you because he's preparing you. Is there anybody in the building who's going to help me tonight? Somebody scream preparation, preparation. And God is delivering you, and God is able to prepare you. And when we begin to look at this now, it's on his bloodline. And I don't know about you, but I'm thankful to God for the process of preparation. Lodabar was one rough place, but it was not my end. Lodabar was one stinking place, but God shifted me into my promise. Lodabar had kept its grip on me long enough, but God is now sending deliverance in my life. And I don't know on a Thursday night who I'm preaching to, but you thought your situation was permanent. But your prophet came to inform you tonight that God has shifted your life into the next dimension. He has delivered you from the locust and the cankerworm. He has restored what the enemy thought he had wrecked. And now when you look at where you are in reference to where you've come from, you can see that God was preparing you the entire time. I know you had to stay at home. I know they've been running out of goods at the grocery store, but God has been preparing you the entire time. Others thought you would die in your rough seasons. Others thought your expiration date was near. Others thought you would be poor all your life. But now you know it was all a setup. Somebody shout, it was a setup. And though I don't deserve it, God still delivered it. And though I'm not perfect, our God is still producing. Haters said I was finished, and my critics thought I was done. But look at me now. Somebody shouted back at me, look at me now. I might have faulty feet, but I possess a renewed faith. I still remember Lodabar, but the King sent for me at the lowest point of my life. I might still have some sinful residue, but God is still working on me. I wish I had come where you are because he prepared you. You can give God glory, honor, and praise because he gave you permission. He put you in position, and then he got you ready. He's getting you ready because he's protecting you. But not only is he protecting you, but he's preparing you. But Pastor Rollins, why is God preparing me? He's preparing you because you got to get ready, because God's getting ready to promote you. Is there anybody out there that would type in the comments, God is getting ready to promote me? Promotion is coming to my house. Promotion is coming to my door. Promotion is showing up on my job. And the Bible said that Mephibosheth bowed down and said, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? Mephibosheth, let me show you who you are. You might see yourself as a dead dog, but then the king summoned Ziba, Saul's steward, and said to Ziba, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to the king and his family. You, Ziba, and your sons and your servant Ziba are to farm the land for him. Bring in the crops so that your master's grandson can be provided for. And Mephibosheth, grandson of your master, will always eat at my table. Any good news that God will put people around you? The Bible says that Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants, but now they were all working for a man with lame feet. They were all working for a man they thought was out of position, but God was getting him ready. He was yet protecting him, and he was preparing him because promotion had showed up in no pasture. Can I get one witness that God is getting ready to move in your house? God is getting ready to do it on your job, in your community, throughout this country. Somebody shout, God's getting ready to do it. And Mephibosheth was just promoted from a barren place, and now he's at a blessed place. He now has over 35 people on his staff. He now has a seat at the king's table. And I'm reminded that can't nobody do you like Jesus. Can't nobody love me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Somebody shout, he's my friend. He's my friend. Look at your wife. Look at your co-worker. Look at your child. Look at the cat. Or look at the dog. And shout, God will bring you out. He'll bring you out of your trial, out of tribulation, out of trying times, out of distress. God will. I said God will bring you out and to press my way and to renew my mind. But God's gonna bring me out. Is there anybody? Is there anybody? Is there anybody who knows he will bring you out? Grab your wife, grab your child, grab the dog, grab the cat, grab the table, grab your co-worker, and tell them, when I touch you with all my joy, with all this love and all this anointing, God's gonna bring you out. Tell your neighbor, manifestation is coming to this house. It's hitting this community. It's available right now. And because it is, I'm gonna help you get your joy back. Coronavirus, you can't have all of our joy. I'm gonna help you get your praise back. I'm gonna help you get your importance back. I'm gonna help you win your family back. I'm gonna help you get your confidence back. I'm dance about little old me, and I go old school, and we got to know, ain't he alright? I said, ain't he alright? I said, ain't he alright? Somebody say yeah. Yeah, he's alright. Simply trying to reiterate some good news, even though there's travesty all throughout modern day news. I want to share something with you, downloading it into your spirit. He didn't forget about you. That God has not forgotten about you. I know you were in Lodabar, no pasture, with 2 lame feet. It looks like you're on poverty's permanent list. But you didn't know that there was something God placed on your lineage. There's a promise that he gave to Papa and them. That promise had not been fulfilled yet. And here you are in Lodabar with 2 lame feet. Because somebody made a mistake, you now are lame. Unable to move unless you have some sort of assistance. And it looks like you're out of position. You're in a place where families are fickle, where folk are phony, where agriculture suffers, meaning food is scarce. And it looks like you're out of position. But even there, because this is the prescription for an area of high crime, but even there, he's protecting you. And you don't understand why you are in Lodabar, but it's because he's preparing you. And out of nowhere, God allows King David to recall a covenant made with the former king's son, Jonathan, that preserved David's life. While Mephibosheth has 2 lame feet, seemingly out of position, though he's being protected, because there's a preparation process. What does Mephibosheth do when the king sends for him? He asks the question, why you even care about a dead dog like me? And what I want to share with you who are watching me or listening to me tonight is that there are some questions similar that we present to God. Why do you even care about a dead dog like me? Seemingly out of position, unknowingly protected, because it's preparation that's leading you to a promotion. Bring him to me. Lift him up out of poverty and escort him to the palace. Why do you even care? Because of who you're connected to. They looked out for me a long time ago. I didn't even know you existed. It was brought to my attention that you existed, and I sent for you. Because you had been in no pasture, Lodabar, long enough. only did I bring you out of poverty into the palace, your granddaddy had servants. He had 15 sons. He had 20 servants. They are now all under your care. And what you say to them, they're going to do. They've already been instructed to go farm the land that you didn't know you had. And I don't know who I'm talking to tonight. But I want to share this. Music ministry is going to minister to us, but I want to share this before I give it to them. Lodabar is a place no one wanted to go to. No pastor. It was a destitute and desolate place. It's almost like they had to stay at home. Here's the word for you tonight. He didn't forget about you. You may have had to stay at home, but the King is sending for you. When he gets to the King's house, the King says, you're going to eat at my table. For the rest of your days, you'll eat at my table. Only the finest and choicest of meals are prepared at the King's table. And here is Mephibosheth with 2 lame feet sitting at the King's table. You know why? God didn't forget about it. And whatever your situation is, we're not making light of it. But I want you to understand that God has not forgotten about you. And here's the word for you tonight. The King is sending for you. He's sending for you. He's calling for you. He had you in position, protecting you while you were there, prepared you while you were there, and promoted you to the palace. Because the God we serve does not forget.
Yeah.
going back. Moving ahead. You may want to receive Jesus as your Lord. What I want to share with you tonight is this. This does not imply that you're going to be perfect. None of us are. It does not insinuate that you are going to be mistake-free. It doesn't. But what it does give you is a key that unlocks potential in you that can only be unlocked by the key he carved out. Why? Because he's your manufacturer. He's the engineer of your life. He's the one who saves your soul. Above all, he died for you. On a hill called Calvary, he died. Hung, bled, and died. Went into the lower parts of the earth, and 3 days later got up with power, with the keys to death, hell, and the grave, providing you and I an eternal opportunity to reside with him. Tonight you may say, Pastor, I want to give my life to Christ. We're not going to judge it, nor are we going to make you ashamed. As a matter of fact, we're going to celebrate with angels, as the Bible makes clear that when one person gives their life to Christ, that the angels in heaven rejoice. In other words, God will enable you to start a party in heaven. Angels rejoice. You may say, well, Pastor, I want to rededicate, I want to recommit my life. That does not mean, or does it infer that you've done anything horrific, tragic, or catastrophic. It simply suggests that you know God's hand is upon your life. That he's giving you this dream, he's supplying you this vision, and you are unable to shake it. When you go to sleep, there it is. When you go to work, it's on your mind. While you're driving on the highway, there it is again. He's calling you. You want to give your life to Christ? Put one in that comment. You want to rededicate your life to Christ? Put two in that comment. You say, well, Pastor, I'm backslid. Let me give you good news. God says he's married to the backslider. That literally means he did not divorce you. He simply waited for you to come back home. You may be searching for a church home. Celebration is a church where anybody is somebody. And we are committed to loving everybody. We firmly believe that we are changing lives one verse at a time. That we are impacting lives every chance we get. You want to become a partner of Celebration Church? You can do so. One, if you want to give your life to Christ. Two, if you want to rededicate. Three, in the comments, if you want to become a partner of Celebration Church. To those of you that are watching us from far and have made a decision that you want to partner with Celebration Church, we are currently developing a discipleship program for you where we will be able to be tangible in your life. We're going to roll that out in the next 2 weeks. We'll be reaching out to you and giving you all the information that you need. We're grateful to be able to be in this journey with you. And we're serious about it. So if you want to give your life to Christ, recommit your life, become a partner of this ministry. I promise you, we're not a perfect church, but we love Jesus around here. You may be in the area and say, well, Pastor, there's another church I want to be a part of. We'll help you get there. We want you to be in the kingdom. We want you doing what God has assigned you to do. Celebration, those who would like to sow a seed into this ministry, make a donation to this ministry, maybe those who are partners of Celebration Church, or if you do not have a church home and you want to give up your tithes, then you can do so, your offering. Those instructions instructions are on the screen behind me. If you want to give, you can go to givelify.com, or you can go to our website and click on the donate button, and it will place you right in the portal where you can give. We're so grateful for your liberality. We're so grateful for your benevolence in helping Celebration Church do what God has called her to do. So again, if you want to go to givelify.com, or you go to our website, it should be typed in the comments so that you can click right on it. You can go there. There's another avenue for you as well. Thank you for your liberal giving. I speak a multiplicity of blessings upon your life. May you walk in the peace that is beyond mere understanding. May you be all God has called you to become in current times. I want to remind you that on tomorrow at 9 a.m., you can go to Cover 3 or the Y. They have food distributions from 9 till 11. I know at the Y, Cover 3 is a little bit longer. You can come be with us on Saturday for food distribution, 683 Oak Street, the Martin Luther King Jr. Center here in Franklin, Virginia. Please come on, y'all. Let's get people out. Let's help people. Let's distribute food. Let's help our seniors. And let's get through this time. I'm telling you, God didn't forget about you. And finally, we want to thank you for taking time out of what we are certain to be demanding schedules and to worship with us here at Celebration tonight. Celebration, I love you. I thank God for you. I'm praying for you. We're going to be back in the sanctuary together really soon. We bless God and we praise God. And I speak this prophetic pronouncement over your lives. Blessed are we in the city. Blessed are we in the county. Blessed are we in this nation. Blessed are we upon this globe. I call you blessed when you come and blessed when you go. We are the head and not the tail.